welcome. I'm here with U.S. Congress District 7 candidate Brian Poindexter, who has offered to give us some of his time today out on the campaign trail. Thank you very much
Oh, you're
for
welcome.
meeting you today. Nice meeting you. And we saw you at the League of Women Voters event here in Rocky River, which had, I think, 8 people. It's probably tough to get your full message across. So,
Yeah.
bless them. But we'll give you a little extra time today to expand on any topic you'd like that was addressed in that campaign, that candidate forum. And first, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay. Well, that's the easy part, telling my life story. I'm an 18-year member of Ironworkers Local 17. I got into the union at 27 years old, so I had worked a lot of years prior to joining the union, doing various jobs, working in machine shops was my first job, worked in kitchens, worked in factories, drove over the road, truck driving, moving furniture cross country. Um, and so when I got into the ironworkers, I seen the difference between a union job and not having union job. And prior to that, I believed all the rhetoric against unions. Oh, they're lazy. Oh, um, you know, they they don't deserve the money they get and all that. And then I got in the union. I was like, holy smokes, we work harder now. I work harder now than I ever did, but I'm getting the rewards of working. So I wanted that for other people too.
Mhm.
So when I graduated the apprenticeship, I became a union organizer and really tried hard to get my friends, my family, people in the community to understand um, that working people uniting is the only way we make gains as working people. Very difficult job, as I'm sure you know. Uh, so I couldn't do that I did it for almost 2 years, and it was really hard on my family. So I just went back to the field as an iron worker, and but as an organizer, my eyes were open to how the laws are stacked against working people, um, to keep them from earning living wages, keep them from having good benefits, and once your eyes are open, you can't close them again. So I couldn't do the organizing anymore, so I went back to the field. But like there was something stirring inside me that said you got to do something. This is wrong. Working people are struggling so bad. You got to do something else. And that was around 2016. I really got into the Bernie Sanders campaign for president.
Our Hall of Fame here, Bernie Sanders, AOC, so on, Mamdani.
So I really like this message of fighting for working people and strengthening unions and just really standing up for each other. So I really was following his campaign very strongly. I went to a rally in 2016 at Cleveland State, and at that rally he said, "Young people, you have to get involved. Start at the local level. That's where you're going to make the most difference. School board, city council." So I heeded that message, and in 2017, I submitted petitions to run for city council in Brook Park,
Mhm.
and I've been there ever since. I've won 5 times in Brook Park. They're 2-year terms. I'm currently in my 9th year. I served 8 full years so far, and I have made a difference for working people. I've always supported our city workers, our firefighters, our police officers when their contracts come up. Worked hard to get the funding for new equipment for them, and yeah, I think you know people really responded in Brook Park to my style of representation because I keep it simple. I do the simple things. I show up when you need help.
Mhm.
If you have an issue, you call me and I try to address it. And that's something that I feel has been missing in Washington for so long. And that's why I decided to make this run for Congress, to fight for working people and to be a real representative in our district.
And paying a living wage. People deserve that
Yeah.
right, and sometimes that involves they might be in a profession that or business that is not unionized. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
we've got a lot of people working in what's called the gig economy.
Hmm.
You've got other people working for franchises. So is there anything we can do to help out non-union workers
Oh, absolutely.
make a living wage?
Yeah. So I mean, first off, let's start with the minimum wage. It hasn't been raised at the federal level since 2009. It should have been, in my opinion, $15 an hour 10 years ago. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, that's $15 an hour right now is not enough. But we have to make work worth it again. Like if somebody works 40 hours a week, I mean, think about this, 40 hours a week, and they don't make enough to live. I mean, that's full time. That's all your working time, and you don't make enough to live. What's the point?
yeah,
What is the point of working? You know, people say, "Oh, go get a better job." Well, that doesn't work because people go from one job to one job to one job, and it's the same situation. If you're not making enough at this job and that next job pays the same amount, guess what? You're not getting anywhere. And like we have to start valuing our workers. You see a lot of people like trying their best and just not making it. We have to make work worth it. We got to build an economy that works for everybody, not just the wealthy.
mhm,
You know, I don't care. Like it could be the most easiest menial job. Like what do we say, mopping floors or what do they always say, flipping burgers. Um, if you're calling that the easiest job, that one job should be enough to make a living. Now I'm not saying you need a lavish lifestyle, but you should at least be able to afford rent in the area you live. You should be able to afford groceries in the area you live. You should be able to afford gas in the area you live in. And then as your job requires more skill or more education, more training, then it should go up from there. But the starting wage should be um, a living wage.
yeah. As an accountant, I appreciate the incoming money versus the outgoing money and being, where you need to address both. You need to
Hmm.
address costs
Yeah.
to the average person and as well as the fair wage. So
Hmm.
the biggest costs these days seem to be, obviously gasoline
Hmm.
and healthcare and just basic food. And so, have you thought about ways we can maybe get those prices down for people? We'll leave healthcare. We'll talk about that in a second, but
Yeah.
just generally
So
prices.
well, certainly, right off the bat, I don't think starting wars in the Middle East is something that's going to help with gas prices.
No,
And really, so that's one big issue. But gas prices were already rising before that.
they were over $5 at one point, if I remember.
Yeah, and I know how like fluid the oil market is, the oil industry, and it goes up and down, and it almost seems like it's convenient timing when it goes down. There's an election coming up there. You might see a drop, and um, but what we have to do is not start wars that are going to raise the costs, but also too, we need to continue to invest in renewable energies, right? Like is the batteries um, perfect right now? No, but we got to continue to develop. We got to continue to invest. We got to continue to fund the research to make sure they get better. Like I always use this analogy. Like remember when the cell phone came out? What was that? 1988 or somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
The big bulky Say by the Bell cell phone.
The Gordon
Ima-
Gekko giant brick phone.
yeah, imagine if we said, "Oh, this thing sucks," threw it away, never picked it up again.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we kept developing the technology, and got advanced. Now we have little tiny computers in our hand, and that's where we got to continue to trend with our renewable energies, solar, wind, hydroelectric. You know, some people might not agree, but I think even nuclear energy. It's volatile, but we can continue to make these things better, so that way we're not so reliant on oil. And
Mm-hmm.
then gas prices come down, and heating your home comes down, and electricity comes down. Um, I'd much rather see those cost cutting measures because we all know how companies lower costs, right? Oh, the public wants cheaper prices, so we got to slash our workforce, or we got to break down wages,
That's
or
the
we
easy
got to,
way to do it. It's kind of
yeah,
erosion.
yeah, and they don't, and it's not relative, right? They'll cut X out of their equation, but their profits only come down by X minus
Mm-hmm.
whatever they want to keep for themselves. So
Well, thank you for saying that. the idea of a clean energy economy, which can create jobs, and also the fact that some of these products, like batteries you mentioned, I would put EVs in the same category where they're going to continue to get better, more efficient, where they're being
What
developed, and maybe the first stab at some of these, were not the best, but it's trending in the right direction.
Well, I see it firsthand on the job sites, construction sites. When I first got into the Ironworkers Union, we would use corded tools. We had every drill,
Okay, wow,
everything had cords on it.
yeah,
And then when the batteries started coming out, the batteries would only last like an hour. And now you're getting batteries that last all day. And now it's more practical to use cordless tools.
mhm,
Um, and it's because that technology has continued to be developed. We are even that one little small example isn't all the way developed yet, and it's going to get better as long as we continue to move towards that trend. Yeah.
well, that raises an interesting question. I know your district kind of extends via several counties, like urban and rural, and something that's popping up now are these AI data server farms,
Mhm.
which are popping up in rural areas, and they seem to drain a lot of resources. They're inefficient, require a lot of water to
Mhm.
cool them, and of course the electric grid. So should we just regulate that a little bit more than we are, and make businesses
Yeah.
accountable, or is that? I mean, it seems like it's developing right now before people are catching up to the how to regulate it.
Yeah, with the speed at which it's moving, that gives me great concern. As an iron worker, we build buildings. So the construction of the data centers is good with me in that regard. But I'm worried about the pace at which AI is growing, without really having a good grasp on the effect it's going to have on working people, on the environment, and all the other issues around AI. And I would suggest that we kind of like pump the brakes a little bit, do some more research, see how it's going to affect the workforce. I mean, I've heard studies where, within 18 to 24 months, it's going to replace like 10 million people, 10 million workers just
Yeah,
out of a job. And then what?
right.
What do we do then? Do we just let people starve in the streets, or
Hmm.
what does that look like? So yeah, definitely, it's definitely a subject I got to get more versed in because I'm not really a tech guy, and I don't know how the AI works on the inside, but I do know that it's going to be detrimental in a lot of ways if we're not careful with how it's developed.
But the companies that are on the forefront of that seem to have a lot of influence in Washington right now.
Hmm.
And as Bernie Sanders speaks about the wealth inequality in our country, and so that takes me over to the question of money in politics.
Hmm.
I'd like to ask you
Yeah.
how you feel about that. There's definitely too much of an influence right now. What can we do about it, do you think?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because I'm seeing firsthand how expensive campaigns are, and as a working person, it's been a challenge to reach people who are willing to contribute to a campaign to be competitive, especially in a race where um, you know certain people can pick up the phone and raise $10 million. You know, I think I've recently been endorsed by End Citizens United because I think that
And citizens, okay,
and Citizens
okay,
United has endorsed our campaign. We
awesome.
haven't posted it or made it public, so I guess I'm making it public now. But it's because like that ruling was very detrimental to our society. It gave money speech. Well, in essence, they said that money is speech. So if those with money have speech, does that mean those of us without are silenced? And it's been represented in who's winning these seats. It comes down to more of who can raise more money or who has more influence behind them than it actually does with the person who's running or the message they're speaking about.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that ruling definitely needs to be overturned. Citizens United needs to be overturned, and we need to come up with a more publicly funded election cycle, where people have certain limitations. I mean, you have a whole vendor class of people behind these campaigns, and really it's more of uh, it's more of what they can take out of a campaign than what they can put into a campaign in a lot of cases. So I've learned that as a candidate that I got to be a little bit cautious of who I agree to bring in on the team, and we've been really good with that. Using our money wisely because we don't have a lot. Just like a family at home, when you got to choose between putting groceries on the table and getting your kids braces, um, you got to be real selective in what you buy and what you spend, and that's why we've been running this campaign.
And as you mentioned before, the spending of our government on wars takes money away from uh, other programs, education, just programs that help people's lives get better. I mean, the idea that recently SNAP benefits were paused.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are people who are, desperately need this money. But on the subject of wars, you're going to be in charge as a member of Congress potentially as the purse strings of controlling the purse strings of our country. And do you think that you will be able to change the emphasis from just unlimited military spending to more programs that help people and help their lives, and maybe even restore some of the programs that were cut through the DOGE process,
Mm-hmm.
such as USAID and other programs?
Mm-hmm.
Is that potentially something that could be done, do you think?
Well, I, as a member of Congress, will work towards that effort. I think, you know, my brother served in Operation Iraqi Freedom as a Marine, and I know what it means to sit by the phone and wait for a call, or hoping you don't get a call, the bad call, right? Uh, so he was over there a little over a year, and I watched my parents, the stress they were under, and it was terrible on our family. And one of the things as a Congress member, I feel that we should only be we should only be sending our troops in defense of one of our allies. We should not be doing preemptive strikes or uh, encouraging them to conduct offensive missions at our
Mm-hmm.
expense, first and foremost. Secondly, I really think that we should just kind of really focus on domestic issues right now. I think our military spending is way overbloated. Um, a lot of that funding goes to defense contractors rather than the military itself, and
Yeah.
I think there's room for some of that to be reined in. But but I also too want to make sure that our service members do have the equipment that they need to be you know quality soldiers during the time of need. Um,
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
and I think our service members are grossly underpaid for what we're asking them to do. Especially once they leave service. I think we do a terrible job in this country of supporting them after their service, like cutting VA benefits and you know, uh, allowing our veterans to be homeless on the streets. Right? I think those are all terrible decisions, and it's almost like anything that takes care of people, we don't have money for, but anything that hurts people, we have plenty of money for, and I'm a human at heart. I think life is sacred. I think people should we should be taking better care of people in this country.
Well, that raises a great subject because I've been trying to put a title on what I see people on the other side of the aisle doing right now. It's some of the actions that are occurring, whether it be treatment of immigrants or cutting of programs, seems just plain cruel, and I don't understand it. And I think that was a lot of the motivation behind people coming to the No Kings rallies.
Mm-hmm.
They see a need for restoring just basic humanity and dignity. You mentioned to workers as well, but just for those people who are marginalized in their life, and or people going through issues with mental health or addiction. Those funds are critical to help people
Mm-hmm.
get the treatment they need. But all those things are things that when they're being cut, it just seems to be a lot of cruel things that are going on, both to people at home and abroad. So if you can do anything to help restore that, the mindset, I believe in the golden rule, and so that's what we're hearing from voters also. They really see an injustice. I mean, why else would you get 3,500 groups of people showing up? If you look at the signs, I don't know if you were at any of the No Kings protests.
I was at 3 of them.
Yeah, all three, all right.
Well, I went to Parma in the morning, and then I went to Strongville in the midday, and then I ended up in Medina Square in
The
the
most
evening.
recent one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. In one day.
I was at Parma for the one in October, I think it was of last year. Then I did go downtown. Also, I did a double, two protests that day, but it's really amazing seeing the signs really, I mean, obviously there's abolish ICE, but then they're just, the signs are just basically for restoring human kindness and decency. And I think that people are finding that the current party is, the current elections are almost a matter of, do we want to stay on that path of cruelty and winners versus losers, or being a more generous society?
Yeah, I really don't understand the cruelty. I mean, I know a lot of Republicans. I, I work in. I'm an iron worker. A lot of our members have voted Republican. People in my family voted Republican, and in our inner circles, a member of my family who votes Republican and I vote Democrat traditionally. We don't hate each other, right? We don't hate each other. We might disagree on certain things, but at the end of the day, we want what's best for each other. And I wish that would branch out of our inner circles, include people that are different than me, include people that are, you know, you know, a lot different than me. We we got to start looking at people as human beings again. Um, Everybody is just trying to make it in a world that is hard to make it in, and we can do that by just standing up for each other or helping somebody out. I remember growing up, it wasn't uncommon for my dad to stop and help somebody change their tire on the road. It wasn't uncommon for us to have a neighbor's car in the backyard, you know, fixing the brakes. You know, we can do more for each other without you know without all of the chaos and all of the cruelty that we're seeing in the world.
Thanks for saying that. And I just feel like you know, people who voted Republican, certainly Trump did not campaign on these ideas of what
No.
these things that are taking place. So they were a little bit.
Well, remember he said he doesn't know anything about it. The Project 2020. I don't know anything about it, and then he implements the whole thing.
Right. Project 2025,
Yeah.
that whole thing, and right. So then those things those issues get fixed in elections. It's the beauty of our system with the 2026 midterms, followed by 2028 election. I just had one more thing to ask you. If you were to win the primary, you'd be going up against Max Miller in our district, and he's pretty much been AWOL. He only speaks a few times, generally does not show up to town halls. You'd like to debate him, perhaps, if they came down to that point?
Yeah, anytime, any place, anywhere.
Excellent. Okay. Well, of his few statements he's ever made, I have to bring this one up. He mentioned in an interview his strong support, of course, of Israel. And he said that at that time, he would like to turn Gaza into a parking lot through bombing. So that's what your opponent, where he's at with respect to those circumstances there in the Middle East and in Palestine. He did not mention Hamas. He mentioned just Gaza in itself, to just bomb it beyond
Mhm.
oblivion, and pretty much that's occurred. So uh, the uh, the idea is that he is going to continue on in that mindset and just blindly support Israel. And he also said that he wanted, he thought that after the war in Gaza, that Israel would be made even larger in size. So uh, this is something where obviously this was a factor. The support of Israel was a factor in us going into Iran. But can we at least agree that uh, there are the uses of our military should not be beholden to a foreign government in general, much less one that apparently has got so much influence over our politicians that we would use our troops
Yeah.
to protect their interests,
Well,
ours.
well, I will say this: our alliances should be defensive only in nature. We shouldn't be using our military members and our resources, for that matter, to allow other countries to expand themselves. I disagree wholeheartedly with the the current Congress member saying that Gaza should be a parking lot, because those are human lives,
Absolutely.
you know. And whether two governments don't agree, there's millions of people who are just going about their lives who really don't care one way or the other about the policies that are introduced there, or intermingle there. And you know until they
Well,
start
thank you
seeing
for saying that. Thank you.
until they start seeing each other as human beings, it's going to continue. And I don't know if me as one Congress member is ever going to solve the Middle East crisis that's been going on for a very long time. But I will always side on the side of treating people like human beings, not indiscriminately killing people, and not cheering it on when people are suffering. And that's what I'll bring
Thank
to
you. Thank you.
Congress.
Yeah, that would be a great improvement over, I think, where we're at right now. But I thank you for saying that. And just to recap, you are uh, very much in favor of supporting American workers, and as Sherrod Brown would say in his campaign, it's the dignity of work.
Mhm.
And so that has earned you the endorsement of several pro-labor groups and individuals. Did you want to talk a little bit about your endorsements?
Yeah, well, before I get into the endorsements, I want to talk about my, highlighting the working issues,
Sure.
right? Because those are issues that are uniting. They're not specific to Democrats, because we make no mistake, this district is drawn. We're going to need some Republican support to win this race. And the issues we're highlighting in our campaign are what I call the Holy Trinity: fair wages to combat affordability, access to quality, affordable health care, and secure and dignified retirement. Those issues they cross demographics, they transcend party lines, and that's why we're highlighting those in our campaign. And because that we're highlighting those issues, obviously, I've earned a lot of union support. The state AFL-CIO endorsed us. The United Auto Workers, the Ironworkers, my union, endorsed. They were the first to endorse. Machinists Union, painters and allied trades, bricklayers, um, and several others. But in addition to that, we've got pro-worker candidates who come on board and support us. State Senator Nikki Antonio was the first to jump on our team right off the bat, because I built a relationship with her for my time on City Council,
Mm-hmm.
and she knows what I stand for. She knows me as a person, and supports us. Mayor Marie Gallo of Parma Heights. She has a very similar background in messaging. So she jumped on board, and then from that resonating out, I mean, people have been coming from all over the country to endorse us, including Chris DeLuzio, Congress member of Pennsylvania, and Ro Khanna in California. We just announced Val Hoyle of Oregon endorsed us, and then in addition, the senator himself, Bernie Sanders, is endorsed us, because the yep that yeah, that guy.
All hail.
And and some of my competitors in this primary, and any one of us coming out of the primary, would be very strong and would make Max Miller work. But some of my competitors call it political insiders. I'm like, I'm just an iron worker. I'm an iron worker whose message is standing firm on what we're fighting for, and we've been running hard, and our message has been growing and growing and growing. And you see it in district with a lot of support in district, and you see it nationwide. And make no mistake, it's going to take all hands on deck to win this race. I mean, we are going up against a Republican Party who is very well funded, who's going to pull all the stops, try to get their guy another term. And you know, I'm an iron worker. I'm not going to be able to face them alone. We need to unite the party. You know, we've gotten endorsements from progressives, moderates, and everything in between. We've gotten, we've gotten endorsement from political leaders and unions. We're bringing everybody in because we need all the help. We need everybody united in this. And so phase one is unite the party. Phase two is unite our district, and then phase three is unite our country. I think we can do that if we really kind of bring it back to the basics of what the Democratic Party has always stood for.
Mhm.
You know, and I want to talk about that a minute too. The Democratic Party, we have a big tent. Everybody's welcome, whether you're, a straight white guy from Brook Park, or you're a LGBTQ member from, Solon, or whether you're an immigrant who migrated here from Medina. You know, like, you're welcome in the Democratic Party. So we have a lot of different issues, and we have a lot of different perspectives, and because of that, sometimes our messaging gets kind of lost. Our
Mhm.
our basic core message has always been fighting for working people. I think if we get back to the basics, bring the folks who think that the Democratic Party has left them behind, get them back into the fold, and then we can really start making positive change for our
Sounds wonderful.
country.
Thank you very much for your time today.
You're welcome.
And
I'm glad I was able to make it.
yeah,
I've been running hard.
you were at a Brook Park council meeting today?
So yeah, so the mayor
Any
called.
inside information about the Browns you can tell us?
Nothing that was said today can be shared. It was an executive session, but I will say that having this meeting, I feel really strongly that this project is going to be good for the city and good for the region.
Great.
And
Well, thanks for all you've done working on that city council. It's certainly an interesting time to be on the Brook Park City Council during this whole phase.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Well, it's been interesting my whole time there. I've really learned a lot in my role as a city council member, and that's where I really learned that you have to really be able to listen and understand what the people in your area are going through. If you can do that, you can be a good representative, and I think I have that down pat. So
Okay. Thank you very much.
thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
You too. Thank you.